the rescue worker.
One of the most active volcanoes in the world is in Guatemala. It is called Volcán de Fuego, volcano of fire. In 2018, Volcán de Fuego erupted. It was the deadliest eruption in Guatemala in over 100 years. Entire villages were buried. Thousands of acres of crops were destroyed, and hundreds of people were killed.
Within hours of eruption, a nearby town began ringing its church bells. When the people came to the church, they were called to start collecting supplies for those affected by the volcano.
Rather than waiting for the government or NGOs to intervene, the community went into action. They worked together to gather food, clothes, blankets, and water. Then they distributed these life-saving supplies to those in need.
This powerful example of community-led relief reminds us how people together can reflect God's love and compassion, especially in times of crisis. They show us a picture of how humans can rise to mercy, generosity, and selfless service. In these moments of collective response, we see God's image restored in people.
This communal response reminded the survivors that they were not alone or forgotten. As the community supported the survivors, they showed God's love in action. They revealed His heart for His children, and they lived His desire for us to care for one another as He cares for us.
Community is essential to being a rescue worker for God. It is the C in our rescue acronym.
Jesus' apprentices are shaped in community. That's often where we find the people, events, and environment God uses to shape us.
And our need for community has its origin in God. God is a community in Himself. He is the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, and we are made in His image.
That means that within us are the seeds of community. For us to truly reflect God, we need to be in a community.
Our need for community also has roots in our creation.
That's right. As God created, He kept saying, "This is good, and this is good." But the first thing that was not good in our perfect world was that Adam was alone.
God met His need with Eve. She was His wife, but she's also more than that. Together, they were the first community.
Jesus showed the importance of community too. When Jesus shaped people for kingdom work, He most often did it in community. Look at the 12 disciples.
You know what's interesting? The term disciple appears 225 times in the Gospels, but only 2 of those times were said by Jesus. Instead, He used much more relational terms, like He called His disciples friends, my brothers, and children. Disciples gives the impression of a top-down arrangement. Jesus interacted with His followers on a loving, communal, relational level.
That's true. Jesus developed His disciples in community. I don't think this strategy has changed since then.
No. I think Jesus showed us the model, and He invites us to participate.
As apprentices of Jesus, we are part of the apprentice community.
The apprentice community is there to provide support, encouragement, and accountability. But Douglas, where do we find this community?
That's a great question, Rebecca. Let's look at different layers of community first and see where we find apprentice community. The first layer is the public community. That tends to be 70 people or more. That seems large when compared to the model Jesus showed us. So, likely this is not the good candidate for the apprentice community, though it does have its purpose. Then there is the social community, which is a bit smaller than the public. It is between 20 and 50 people. But for the close connection an apprentice community can bring, this is still too large. The public and social levels of community have their purposes, but they make it challenging to deeply connect with people or to learn and grow together. Deep connection, accountability, and growth really start happening at the personal level of community. This is around 5 to 12 people. And you're probably guessed, this is where an apprentice community can flourish.
That makes so much sense. It's much easier to open up with the smaller group.
Precisely. And there is one more level of community that's even smaller than that. It is the intimate level. This level has 2 to 4 people in it.
So, a marriage is a type of intimate community. It has 2 people. Jesus had an intimate community as well, didn't he? It was with Peter, James, and John.
Precisely. This size too can be an apprentice community. But community, especially an apprentice community, is more than just its size.
Absolutely. An apprentice community has 3 essential traits: grace, trust, and support. Grace empowers the community members to be accepting, kind, and caring. They can give and enjoy freedom. They can forgive, protect, and also heal.
Trust makes the community a safe place for its members. And where there is trust, there is openness to learn, to be vulnerable, and to change. This is essential if growth is going to happen.
And when an apprentice community offers support, its members know they are not alone. They are understood and supported in their journey and their struggles. The community gives encouragement, assistance, practical feedback, empowerment, and hope. A community with grace, trust, and support fosters godly development.
That's right, that's right. And that development is not intended for each member alone. It is intended to benefit the community as well.
And not only the immediate community, but all levels of the community, from the most intimate to the most public.
That's right. God shaped us in community for the community. And so we can be His rescue workers.